Are you ready to think and speak in English today? Let's do it. If you have ever been watching YouTube on your phone and then looked at the clock and realized that 2 hours passed by just like that, well, today's lesson is for you. You're going to learn how to think and speak in English about technology and also about your age. Hi, I'm Vanessa from SpeakEnglishWithVanessa.com, and like always, I have created a free PDF worksheet for you with all of today's important vocabulary, definitions, sample sentences, and at the bottom of this worksheet, you can answer a quiz to test yourself to see if you really learned everything from today's English lesson. You can click the link in the description to download that free PDF worksheet today. All right, let's get started thinking and speaking in English about our first topic, which is technology. Let's go. In this lesson, I'm going to tell you a little story about my journey with using technology, and I will explain some key vocabulary along the way. I hope that you too will feel confident thinking and speaking in English about the topic of technology by the end of this lesson. Let's start with the story. So I need to watch YouTube for work, but I would oftentimes log on to YouTube for work and end up watching tons of other videos unrelated to work. It was a time suck. Can you guess what this word time suck means? Take a look at this sentence. I removed all unnecessary apps from my phone because they were just a time suck. We can kind of imagine a vacuum sucking away your time. And that's what it is. It's just something that wastes your time. I was wasting time on YouTube. It was a time suck. For me, I was developing a reliance on technology because I felt like it was important for my job, but was it really? This word reliance is talking about being dependent on something. It's good to be dependent on some things. I am dependent on my family, or I rely on my family. But the way that I just used it, a reliance on technology, you kind of get the sense that I don't want to be reliant on technology. Have you ever said something like this? I realized that I have a reliance on technology when I use Google Maps to get anywhere. Google Maps has saved me so many times. I have a reliance on Google Maps technology. All right, let's go to the next part of the story. But the thing was, I couldn't stay focused using the apps that I thought I needed for work. There were too many distractions. Let's take a look at this fun expression. The thing is, or the thing was. I love expressions like this because advanced English speakers and native English speakers use these all the time, but I feel like English learners don't really integrate these into daily conversation. So here's your chance to be able to use this. We use the thing is, or the thing was, to give an introduction to a topic, or maybe like a summary of a topic. So let me give you another example. I know that I need to get healthier, but the thing is, I don't like to work out. So we're kind of narrowing the topic here. I know I need to get healthy, but the thing is, here's my introduction to the problem, the summary of the problem. I don't like to work out. And that's how I used it when I was talking about technology. The thing is, my summary or my introduction of the problem, the thing is, I just couldn't stay focused. And why? Because the next word, there were too many distractions. This is the problem with the internet, right? There are too many distractions. If you've ever worked online, I'm sure that distractions have been a problem for you. What are distractions? Well, they're things that are trying to take your attention away from what you need to be focusing on. Right now, you need to be focusing on this English lesson on YouTube. But do you know what? There are recommended videos. There are other things online. Everything might be popping up and moving. There are so many distractions that it's hard to stay focused and learn English. I know, it's hard to stay focused, but we need to push aside distractions, and I'm going to give you a solution for this in just a minute, telling you about what I did. Let's move on to the story. Even worse, my bad tech habits were making me miss out on real life interactions with my friends and family. This word, real life interactions, notice the pronunciation here, interactions. The T has been completely cut out. Real life interactions. This is talking about connecting with people in real life, the people who are at the table with you, the people who are in your classroom. These are the people, tangible people around you, not the things that are going on online. It's a problem. Whenever I heard a notification on my phone, bling, I felt like I needed to check it. But the problem was I wasn't being present and I needed to do something about it. This word notification is highly linked to technology nowadays. We get lots of notifications on our phone all the time. Such a pain. What about this? Being present. Well, you probably know what a present is, like a gift. I gave a present to my friend on their birthday, but that's not what we're talking about. We are talking about your body and your mind being physically there in the moment. You are being present. You're not thinking about something else. You're not worrying about something else. You are being present. And that's the problem with our phones. It's hard to be present when we're looking at our phones and technology. So what's the solution? Well, I decided to read a book called Digital Minimalism, and it inspired me to add a block on my phone so that I could only use YouTube for a specific amount of time at a specific amount of time per day. I like this expression, inspired me. It gave you some inspiration to make some change in your life. This book inspired me. It really made me want to make a change. His descriptions were great. His analogies were great. His story was great. And reading this book inspired me to what? Add a block. You might also hear this called blocker. Add a blocker on my phone. There's certain apps. I use App Block, but there are plenty of others that will have you set a type of plan. I want to only use YouTube from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. each day. Maybe this is something that you need for work, like me. So this is my working time, and I only can watch YouTube during that time, so it makes me focus because the block is restricting my access. And also, 9 a.m. is when my new YouTube videos come out, so you're able to focus and study English at this time each Friday. I hope so, and not give in to all the distractions. The most useful thing is that the block turns off all apps at night so that I don't start doom scrolling or get sucked into news articles late at night. Has this ever happened to you? You're looking at something and then all of a sudden the internet shows you terrible things happening around the world. Oh no, bad, bad, bad. And you have to click on it. You have to know what it is. So you start reading more and more bad things. This is doom scrolling. And unfortunately, it's something that social media does really well because as humans, we want to click on bad things. We want to find out all of the terrible things that are happening. So it brings a lot of attention and eyeballs to social media, but it's not good for us as humans to be doom scrolling and feel really anxious. The other expression that I used is to get sucked into something. Here again, we're talking about, imagine a vacuum. Our attention and our brain is being sucked into these news articles or whatever else you might be looking at, and all of a sudden, 3 hours passes just like that, and we haven't really noticed the world around us. We're not being present. This app block was a game changer. I felt free finally from the pool of unlimited media. I'm more productive during my workday, and I'm more present when it comes to time with my family and friends. And you know what? I can even sleep better at night. I love this word, game changer. It's such a big expression that means everything changed because of someone or something. So this simple app on my phone, this app block was a game changer. It changed everything for my experience using media. It was a game changer. You might even say that about my English lessons. Vanessa's English lessons were a game changer for my English learning journey. All of a sudden, I felt like English was possible. It was fun. It was enjoyable. I had a plan. Great. It was a game changer. I also use the word productive. When you are productive, you can achieve more. So it's great to be productive at work. When you're trying to clean your house, you want to be productive and not distracted. Of course, you don't need to be productive all the time. Sometimes it's nice to just go have a picnic outside and spend time with friends. You're not creating something and working and being productive. No, you're just enjoying life. But it's important to be productive when you want to be productive. And did you notice that I used the word present again? I could be present with the people who mattered. My friends and family, I was present with them. And most importantly, I was able to set a good example for my kids who are growing up with more technology than I could ever have imagined having as a kid. When I was a kid, there was a TV and a phone on the wall, and that was it. But kids nowadays are growing up with the possibility of so much technology, and I think this role setting is really important. I use the word most importantly because to me, I think this is one of the most important things as a parent that I can do. My habits affect me, but most importantly, they also affect the young people who I'm trying to raise into good adults. When you're a parent, you try to set a good example, or even just as a human, you try to set a good example. You don't throw your trash on the ground, you put it in the trash can. Why? Of course, to help the earth, but also to set a good example. You're trying to be a good citizen, a good parent, a good human. And I also used this wonderful verb phrase, could have ever imagined, or we can switch it, could ever have imagined. This is obviously another big, full expression. Here I said more technology than I could ever have imagined. Maybe you can even use this for your English learning journey as well. You might say, when I was taking English classes as a child, occasionally we watched a VHS in English, but it was so limited. Now, there are more English videos than I could ever have imagined when I was a kid. Right now, there are really unlimited videos that you can watch in English, and I hope that this one is useful to you. And finally, I want to show my kids and anyone else that technology is a great tool that you can use when you establish boundaries. This phrase, establish boundaries, is the key for pretty much everything in life. You need to establish boundaries with technology, with your work, with your relationships, with yourself. It is important to establish boundaries. This means that you're setting limits or guidelines. You are not just saying everything's okay. No, instead, you are establishing boundaries in a relationship, maybe your relationship with technology. And for me, it was really useful to have this app block that was able to help me establish boundaries with technology. So now I feel a lot healthier and I'm able to use it in a better way. Well, I hope that you felt inspired to focus when you are using technology so that you can really learn English. Let's talk about our next topic, which is age. Everyone grows older. And how can we talk about it? Well, let's learn how to do it in English. Let's go. Are you ready to get started? Let's start with the story. Recently, I went to the grocery store to buy some wine, and the 16-year-old cashier asked to check my ID. Okay, so I don't know if this 16-year-old cashier was actually 16 years old, but I wanted to introduce you to this useful way of describing age. Do you notice something about this expression? There are two hyphens, 16 hyphen, year hyphen, old, cashier. This is an adjective describing cashier. So we could say, my 4-year-old son loves snakes. It's true. He loves all kinds of snakes. And here I'm using it as an adjective to describe what? To describe son, my son. My 4-year-old son the 16-year-old cashier. Now there's another way to talk about age, which you'll see in an upcoming sentence. So keep this in mind, and let's go on to the next part of the story. In the US, you'll get carded if you look younger than 50 years old. They're pretty strict about underage drinking. Do you know this lovely phrase, to get carded? It doesn't mean that they're giving me a greeting card. Happy birthday, Vanessa. No. Instead, it just means that the cashier is checking my ID to make sure that I'm old enough to buy something. Usually it's tobacco or alcohol. So if you look under the age of 50, you will get carded most likely. They'll say, "Can I see your ID?" or "Do you have an ID?" Sometimes they'll say, "What year were you born in?" if they're pretty sure that you're over the age of 21, which is the legal drinking age in the US, but usually you'll get carded. And sometimes, I know I have some older neighbors, they're 55 years old. When they go to buy alcohol and they get carded, they get so excited. "Oh, you think that I'm under 21 years old? Yes, I will show you my ID, no problem." And this is a big part of American culture, that they are strict about underage drinking. That doesn't mean that people underage don't drink. They definitely do, but this is just the legal system. Remember how we just talked about 16-year-old cashier? Take a look at the phrase I just used, 50 years old. What's the difference between these two? 16-year-old cashier and 50 years old. It's the S, and there's hyphens in the first one. So here, take a look at how we're going to grammatically use the second one. He is 50 years old. I am 500 years old. Amazing. So here we are going to be using the S when we are simply stating an age. He is 50 years old. But we could say he is a 50-year-old man. Notice how we added man to the end, and we need those hyphens when we're adding the noun at the end. Lots of ways to talk about age. Okay, let's continue with the story and see what happened at the grocery store. Well, the girl looked at my ID and said, "Oh, my mom was born in 1987 too." What? I have never felt so old. I know that 36 years old is not old, but it made me feel old. Let's talk about this phrase, to feel old. I know that 36 years old is not really old, but it made me feel old. So here we have a discrepancy between my true age and how I feel. I think this has happened to everyone at some point. Maybe you're watching a professional sport and you realize, oh, everyone playing that professional sport is younger than me? What? There becomes a turning point when you're becoming wiser, more mature, and older along the way. So you might say, I remember when my cousins were born and now they're graduating from high school. It makes me feel so old. All right, let's continue with the story. Yes, I felt old, but I know that age is just a number. It's all about your mindset and your creaky knees, right? This phrase might exist in your native language as well. Age is just a number. Maybe if you are 75 years old, you might feel extremely old, or you might feel young and vibrant, excited about the world, curious and interested. Well, it's just a mindset, usually. So we could say age is just a number. All right, let's continue. For me, I hope that as I age, despite what my body does, I'll continue to be young at heart. Did you notice that I used this word differently than usual? I said, I hope that as I age. I used it as a verb. Usually the word age is a noun, right? What is your age? But here we're talking about to age, which means simply to get older. So you might say something like this. Everyone ages. It's just a part of life. Isn't that true? Everyone ages. A lovely verb. The next phrase about age I'd like to introduce you to is this one, to be young at heart. I know that as we age and as we get older, life happens. There are difficult and heavy things that happen to us. So how can we stay young at heart? Take a look at this sentence. In my opinion, being around young children helps you to stay young at heart. You enjoy playing, you can laugh at the silly things that they do. It keeps you young at heart. All right, let's continue with the story. I hope I'll always be curious and interested in the world. It's never too late to learn something new, like English. I love this phrase. It's never too late. We can use this about growing older, about aging. It's never too late to learn English. I know a lot of my students are retired. Now you all of a sudden have this free time and you want to invest it in yourself, being curious and interested in the world, improving yourself, keeping your mind active. It's never too late to learn English. But we can also use this phrase for a lot of other things as well. My family loves to plant things, including trees. Well, trees take a long time to grow. And yes, I wish I had planted trees 10 years ago, but I could use this phrase. It's never too late to plant a tree. Start today, and in 50 years, it will be a big, mature tree. It's never too late. All right, let's continue. Here's my advice as your English teacher. Don't listen to all those negative people who say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Does this phrase exist in your native language? Unfortunately, this is quite a negative phrase that's usually meant to discourage people. Or if you feel like you're not learning something fast enough, you might use this and say, I got my first cell phone last week and I just can't figure it out. I guess you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But the truth is, you can keep your mind open. Your style of learning might be slightly different. Your results might be slightly different. But do you know what? It is worth it to keep your mind active and always learning new things that interest you. All right, let's continue. A lot of my older and wiser students tell me that they are learning English in order to keep their mind young. What a great idea. I love it. This phrase, to keep your mind young, means that even though your body is getting older, maybe your body is not capable of the same agile, fast, difficult things that you used to do when you were younger, your mind can stay young and active. There are a lot of ways that you can do this. The number one way is to speak English with Vanessa, of course. But the other ways that you can keep your mind young are doing puzzles, trying to figure out different problems that you can solve. Try a new kind of art, try some painting, maybe make something with clay. These types of things can help to keep your mind young and fresh. I want to share a quote with you about age and growing older by George Bernard Shaw, the author. It's this: we don't stop playing because we grow older. We grow older because we stop playing. Of course, you can't stop the aging of your body, but here he's talking about the aging of the mind. If you continue playing, enjoying things, finding the joy in the little moments of life, your mind will stay young. Wonderful idea. Well, congratulations on learning how to think and speak in English about technology and your age. And now I have a question for you. Let me know in the comments, how old were you when you got your first cell phone? I think for me, I was maybe 19 or 20 years old. Let me know in the comments, how old were you when you got your first cell phone? And I can't wait to see what you have to say. Don't forget to download the free PDF worksheet with all of today's important vocabulary, sample sentences, and you can take the quiz at the bottom of the worksheet. You can click on the link in the description to download that free PDF worksheet today. Thanks so much for learning English with me, and I'll see you again next Friday for a new lesson here on my YouTube channel. Bye! But wait, do you want more? I recommend watching this video next where you can speak with me for 2 hours, including learning about how to speak about when you have truly fallen in love. Let's watch that video to find out, and I'll see you there.